Hello and welcome to the John Day QA channel. I'm John Day and I'm going to take you through a nice straightforward one for end users. It's a really good one to get yourself quickly set up with links to your SharePoint sites and its content. So I'm going to take us through the SharePoint Wiki links from the ground up and just take you through some tips. Now, anyone who uses SharePoint 2013, 2010 or even the MOS 2007 will benefit from this video. So I'm going to take you, as I said, from the ground up using a basic wiki link. We're then going to take you through links to new pages, including some little tips and tricks on display text and naming convention of your web pages. Also wiki links to apps and even documents and items in the library app. And then finally showing you how to go to a specific view within an app as well. For the demonstrations, I'm going to use this homepage of my team site. Before I go any further, let me just show you in the site contents and in my site pages library app that the homepage you've just seen is sitting in this site pages library app, along with another page you get by default called how to use this library, and I'm going to create a link to this one first to get the ball rolling. So back to my homepage, and I'm going to edit my homepage, add my wiki link to the end of this sentence. As I open these two square brackets, or parameter brackets, this is what creates the launch to your wiki. So you can see that in this menu, I've got a list of the pages in my site pages library, and underneath it we have some placeholder headers that allow you to work in different ways, which we'll do shortly. So for now, just going to click on that page. You can click it in, you can even type it in if you prefer, and then make sure that you have the closed square brackets at the end. Save the page, and what I have now is a link to that page. There we go. I could edit that page, and then somewhere in my page I'm going to put at the bottom a quick link back home. And look at that, within seconds I've created links between two pages very quickly. So what I want to do now is create a link to a new page, but I haven't created the page yet. So I'm going to edit my web page, add a new bullet, and just add a sentence. And with this I'm going to create a summary page. So I'm going to open the square brackets and type in document summary . So check the document summary page for latest updates. Okay, save the page, and you can see there's the link, but notice here we've got a dashed underline, and this just informs me that there's a placeholder for the link for the document, but the document hasn't been found, it hasn't been located inside that site pages library. So I have at least contribute rights or higher. I can click that link, I'm able to create that link. I'm now inside this new web page. So I'm just going to put a link in again to go back home and save. And now, again, very quickly, I've got a link backwards and forwards between the home page and a new page called Document Summary. So let's see how that Document Summary page looks in the Site Pages library app. If I go to the site contents and into my site pages, there it is, automatically created. Now, some people will have a concern with the way the file name has been stored. You'll notice this has a space in the file name, very much like the how to use this library. If I click that document again, there it is, but show the web address, you'll see that in browsers, spaces are carried across. In the Mozilla Firefox, a space is actually displayed as a space. But if I go into Internet Explorer, which is one of a number of browsers where the space is presented in its hexadecimal character code, which is %20. So what if I want to keep the name of the file short, the web page name short, but still display a lengthy link with spaces in? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the site pages and I'm going to delete that page. I'm going to go back to my home page and revisit an alternative method. You'll see that because I've deleted the page from the site pages library, the dashed underline has appeared again. I'm going to edit the page and I'm going to readdress this nice and clearly so you can see what I'm doing. So open up the two square brackets, and this time I need to put in the name that I would like to give to the page itself, the file name. So I'm going to call this docsum. But I don't want that to be the name that's presented as the link. So what I use is the pipe key just to the left of your letter Z. Please check your keyboard. Your keyboard layout may vary, but it's the shift key and your backslash, which is where the pipe key is normally located. So display the pipe, and then that just gives me a means of an alternative display. So I'm going to put in as my alternative display text, document summary, close square brackets, page for document updates. So I'm just going to complete a sentence at the end just to finish that off. Save the page, and there it is. So I've got the full text displayed. I click the link to create it. As I create it, you'll see very carefully it says there the page name will be created as docsum. So I can create a shorter name for my pages, and it's quite good for those that consider or bear in mind the 260 character limit that you have for your URL path. Now what I'd like to do is create a link to one of the documents in a document library I have. So I'm just going to go to my documents library, and you'll see there's a few documents in there, and I'm going to link to this sync with SharePoint. So I'm going to go back to the home page and edit it and add a sentence. Learn how to, and then I'm going to open the square brackets, and you can see I've got this list. I'm going to type this out for a particular reason. You'll see in a moment a tiny little glitch that's going on currently with Office 365 here at the time of the video, which is January 2015. So I'm going to type this in, list : and that provides a layout of all of my current lists and libraries, of course. I'm going to type in documents : and you'll see it now provides a list of my documents within that list. And I can then type in, or I think it'd be quicker if I just clicked on the appropriate document, and that closes the square brackets down for me. And if I save the page, there it is. Learn how to sync with SharePoint.docs. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not a big fan of having the documents extension displayed as part of the link. So one of the things we looked at earlier was alternative display text. I'm going to edit the page, and you'll see that SharePoint has automatically provided a breakdown of the name of the document, then a pipe, and then the display text. So after creating it, I edit the wiki link. I can modify the display text and keep it simple. Now I did say there was a glitch. So if you're using Office 365 or you're using SharePoint on site in a sort of a hosted environment, what you may come across, and I'll show you this now, is that when you click on one of your list of libraries, it for some reason at the moment automatically closes down the brackets. Now that link will work, but the link will point directly to the library instead of to a document in the library. So there are two approaches you can now see. If you want to put a document in, it's best to type the name of the list out first, / at least until Office 365 either resolves that, or if Microsoft provide a reason as to why they may have deliberately made that happen. So the observation you might make is, well, why don't I just get rid of those close brackets? Maybe retype that / and bring the list of documents or items back. Unfortunately, it doesn't. Even if I go back to renaming the documents app, it doesn't do anything. In order for me to fix this, I would have to retype from the open square brackets again. And what can happen also, rather annoyingly, is if you're creating the wiki link between text, so you've already got a sentence there and you're adding a wiki in between, you'll find sometimes the link doesn't open the menu at all. Now this is occasional, it doesn't happen all the time. I found with Office 365 this actually does work now. It's older versions or SharePoints that haven't been updated, that this is another little feature to look out for. So the last demonstration is to show you how that view works. And what I've done in the shared documents is I've created a separate view called Your Docs. Now, keep it simple. All I've done is I've just added a few columns extra so you can see the difference. So this is my view that shows them the file size and the current version number of the document. And what I like to do on the home page is provide a link to this library, but in that particular view, because that's what I want them to see. So back to the home page and edit it and type in and into the shared documents. But what I'm doing this time is going to use the view, and you'll see that I can point to the document library again, but this time you'll see that I get the views of the library. In this case I'm going to pick on the Your Docs. That's it. Save the page, and now I've provided the link to the users where they see the document library in the view relevant to them. Wikis inside SharePoint aren't all-seeing, all-knowing, all-powerful. If you compare them to wikis that you have in various other services, there are certain things that we can't do. We can't provide icons that might be headed up with a document or an item, and we can't display an image, displaying its actual image rather than the link to an image, because SharePoint wikis doesn't provide those sort of features. So SharePoint wikis are limited, but as you can see, if you're trying to get through your work quickly and trying to provide and build up a good site for your team, wikis has a lot of advantages.